Welcome back, everybody, to the interviews with vets and MDs and the pet
Welcome
professionals
back.
around the world about keeping your animals healthy and in balance and having the best quality of life for the longest time possible. And it's my honor today to be here with Dr. Wendy Jensen, who's a great friend and author of The Practical Handbook of Homeopathy and co-author on the New World Veterinary Repertory, the very first veterinary repertory. And why don't we start there even before we launch into vitality and balance? So why a new world? What do you mean by a new world?
Actually, my husband coined the phrase, and it stuck. We were honoring Richard, really, the other author that brought, kind of revived, Richard Pitcairn, that revived veterinary homeopathy in this country. So it was like, Christopher Columbus finding the new world. So Richard's brought homeopathy to the new world. So that's what it was named.
Got it. So Columbus rode beyond the flat earth, because I guess at that time the earth was flat. Columbus rode beyond the flat earth and discovered the new world. Oh, that's awesome. Great. So in that same vein, tell me what you think about when I say vitality.
Oh, yeah. Vitality is the energy of the body. It's what's available to help you play, to help you have fun, to help you work, to help your tissues grow, regenerate from a wound, and heal from an illness. If you don't have vitality, you don't have health. You may not even have life, right? Yeah.
Well, that's I mean, you're vital when you're not alive.
Right.
I mean, you have energy for your cells to work, or not so much.
Exactly.
So,
Being exhausted at the beginning of the day when you've had a good sleep, there's something going on with your vitality. It's not just because you're depressed. Though certainly emotions are related to vitality, wouldn't you say as well? Positive emotions are related to having enough energy, enough vital force, enough vitality, to be happy and deal with life's troubles.
So vitality is seen as the energy that allows our pets to have good lives, have healthy lives, not to have problems in their lives. You mentioned vital force. Is that like a force like lightning, or
Oh yeah, it's a funny word. It's a useful word because it conjures up the force, the energy. It's not just vital alone. So it's useful in describing the energy that's available that animates you, that means that you can, again, like we talked about, that you can work, that you can play, that you can heal from wounds and fend off infectious diseases. Even that vital force is what does all that work. There's many words you can use. The Chinese, wouldn't it? I think it would be the CHI, which I never sure, is it chi, is it tea, is it kai, is it? So it's the same thing. Yeah.
My favorite for pets is prana. The energy in air is very, very healing, and we use therapeutic breathing, therapeutic pranayama for dogs, and it helps them get rid of symptoms sometimes like that.
Wow, that's great.
It's amazing, and in the same vein, you were talking about vitality and vital force and prana and chi. I'm just wondering your thoughts about, so if you have all that, you're in good shape, or does it need to be, I mean, what about balance? What do you think about balance?
I guess I think of it as the vital energy as almost like you're taking care of a flower. And whatever you need, what that flower needs might be more than just the vital energy. So the vital energy needs to have nutrients, proper nutrients. You need to have a good emotional surrounding, so environment around you, people, in our case of our pets, the people that love them, that care for them, instead of that are wishing they were gone and out the door. That's part of nurturing that vital energy. It's almost that it's the things that allow the vital energy to express to the fullest. And so if the energy is taken up with dealing with a abusive person, there's less energy available to have a healthy, balanced animal. So they're yeah,
Awesome.
it's hard to describe, isn't it? But it's all together of a piece. It's the way we live every day, but we just aren't used to thinking of it that way. We're thinking of it, oh, I like, what's the current trend? It's called wellness instead of health. And I don't mind people using that term, but I don't like it because it kind of means you don't have symptoms. Wellness. Because many people that are well, or that want to be considered well, are on lots of medications and their symptoms are balanced. So they consider themselves well. But to me, that's not health. Health is nurturing that vital energy with correct food, with correct people that are supporting of you, the work that you're doing that blesses you, that empowers you. That's health.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. So you brought up a couple of very important points. I guess the first one that I wanted to ask about is you mentioned, energy being a more nebulous term, or you're not quite sure, or we're not quite sure, but, it isn't really describe what you talked about, having the energy to do life. It's not described in physics as the first law of thermodynamics of conservation of energy. I mean,
That's true. It's really true. I'm kind of still talking like, you remember Newton, the apple drops on his head is the story anyway. He says, well, why did the apple drop on my head? So we're not sitting here going, oh yeah, gravity. It's just there. But right, gravity can be measured. Yeah, the energy of the physics has so much knowledge that I can't even understand, but it does. There's measurable things about this where I'm using nebulous terms, but that's just because lack of knowledge of the physics of it. You're right, Jeff. So
interesting. Great. Okay, good. And the other thing you mentioned is, which I love, the gardening analogy and, the nutrients and the balance that allows, a plant to grow or crops to grow. And that is the terrain, the outer terrain.
terrain,
Um,
that's a great word. Yeah.
do you have any thoughts about, or have you studied or read anything about the inner terrain?
More in the case of whenever I battle with the idea of vaccination, that if the terrain of the body, where we live, how to describe it? It's what the body is presenting to the illness, to the infectious bug, that is the key to surviving it or fighting it off or never even having symptoms, rather than the strength of the bug. So it's not, uh-oh, this one's really bad, it's going to kill everybody, because even in today's world, we've seen it, this pandemic, not everybody's getting really sick. But there are some that are, and they're dying, and it's related to the terrain. How healthy are they? How strong is their vitality? What else in their life are they using energy to fight? A bad situation, poor food, not enough clean water. That's terrain. I'm not describing it very well, I think.
I think that's beautiful. That's perfect. So,
Mm.
so terrain is the outer environment, like gardening and everything that balances um, your healthy or nurtures your plants, or the inner terrain is everything that balances your inner health.
Yes.
And that inner health, I believe you just said, is what you think allows us to battle germs or keep
Yes.
us from. So why don't we go there? What do you think is more important, the germ or inner balance? If our pets are balanced, they can get sick from a germ, or
I think very clearly it's the inner balance that's more important. And some of that is what they're born with. So in other words, I never want to be assigning blame. People, my clients blame themselves so much. And it's like, no, it's like that you can be born with, a stronger terrain, a stronger vitality. It can be nurtured, but yet that terrain, the strength of that terrain is much more important than the strength of the bug. In fact, the strength of the bug is related to your terrain. It's like trying to grow plants on Mars, right? It wouldn't be able to. There's no oxygen, last I knew. So that's what's important, is you can't have your animals living on Mars. If you have a terrain that's as barren as Mars, you're going to get sick.
got it. So the strength of the bug has a direct effect on whether you get sick or not. So if it's really, really strong, you have no high virulence or no oxygen like on Mars, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, how strong your terrain is. But I wanted, the last thing you said that really, really hit home is you were talking about healthy plants and, providing all the ingredients for the outer terrain for the plant to grow and be well. Um, what, what about the manifestations of that balance internally? Do you feel that we can see that? Can pet parents observe if their pets are balanced?
I,
Or,
I
and if,
think the work that you've done really helps there. But yes, so what I'm looking for to tell the health of an animal, and how they're doing, is their energy level. Just purely, can they? We're not talking about a 12-year-old dog suddenly doing 5 miles, but a puppy, or say a teenager, 13-month-old. If they have trouble doing a couple miles around the block, then they've got the lower energy. So you're looking for that. How energetic are they? And then also their attitude. I think I've learned from you, the term beam is very helpful. So you're looking at behavior, energy, attitude, and is it mental?
mood. Yep.
Mood, yes. So those are great ways. They're a great catchphrase to remember. So energy. So how do they react when somebody comes to the door that they know? A bark or two is fine, or a cat that might leave the room and just be cautious. Yeah, that sounds pretty normal. But a dog that attacks that door and won't stop jumping and is just crazy, either crazy happy, sometimes that's not quite right. It's just over the top. Any over the top behavior, I wonder, about their health in that area. Or the cat that disappears for about 2 days after a visitor, that's excess fear. That's not a strong vitality. In other words, it's not a strong terrain, inner terrain. Attitude, mood. So yeah, depression, that's indicative of not tip-top health. And there can be excessive grieving, after college kids going off to college. Sometimes that's a hard time for the animals. And if they've got other people around them that are caring for them and care about them, but they're still deeply distressed after months, that's not a very strong terrain right there. And other things are just simply having trouble learning. If they're normally have been quick on the draw and now you're having trouble training them new things, then I wonder about their level of health. So we can see a lot of things, since we don't have a terrainometer, to measure, oh, you're a 7, you need this. There are still plenty of things that we can observe and smell, even weird body odors, and see and touch and watch and know how our animals are doing.
I'm gonna run right out to Walmart and buy a terranometer and get my red perspectoscope along with that.
I got them in the back room. I'll mail one to
Okay,
you.
that'd be awesome. Thank you.
$49.50.
And the last thing that kind of brings it all together is what pet parents can do to conserve that energy
Oh yeah.
and keep their pets as happy and healthy and symptom free as possible.
Yeah, good. The first thing I think of is diet. The closest you can get to a fresh raw diet, just like you have for yourself. You know, if we ate from cans and bags all our life, we wouldn't be doing ourselves a favor. And we were kind of, I was raised anyway, being taught that that was great. You just get a good product and you're set. But if you can get the raw diet, if you can get the organic food, and more higher on the food, lower on the food chain, you know, the more I know we have animals that like meat, and cats have you have to be very careful with them. But the lower on the food chain you can feed them, the less toxins have accumulated. So in other words, away from the meat and more towards the vegetables, grains. It's something to look for and to try out and try and anyway, increase the value of the food that's going in their body. Support them that way. Fresh air and exercise. Even cats, it's not good to have them wandering out on their own, but they have these great harnesses that are cloth harnesses, and they're really great for walking cats. Or you can have a cat, what are they called? Caticos. It's a patio fenced in, screened in. It's amazing what that breath of fresh air does to these cats. It really helps them be healthier, to be able to be out there feeling the seasons. And of course, you know, treating them with love, that's important. If you can, the more you can, avoid using drugs. If you can use natural methods to fight the fleas, to fight the heartworms, you know, there's other ways to help in that arena. Now, I'm not practicing down in the deep south, so I don't have terrible fleas. I'm up in the Northeast, but there are ways that you can support them, and they're much less attractive to these pests, rather than just automatically putting on a drug that infuses their whole system. And so diet, exercise and fresh air, avoiding lots of drugs. And I feel like I'm missing something. Surrounding them with love, yes.
Connection and love, yeah, definitely
Yeah,
is a big
yeah.
activator. Yeah, I
Fresh
mean,
water, of course.
and these are all things that build vitality. You know, fresh
Yeah,
food
and
has
preserve
more
it.
vitality than commercial food. But you mentioned the one thing that we want to avoid to preserve vitality, and that is avoiding toxins,
Yes.
because
Yeah,
those toxins actually lower the cellular energy that your body has to heal, that a pet's body has to work properly. So,
right.
so
It's
yeah,
not infinite, right? The energy's not infinite. Yeah.
exactly. Awesome, awesome. Well, that's fantastic. Thanks so much, Dr.
Oh,
Wendy.
yeah,
That was
sure.
great. I really, really appreciate your time, and I hope we get to have a longer conversation soon, and that you are well, and that everybody is well. And thank
Yes.
you, and bye bye for now.
Thanks,
Okay.
Jeff. Thanks,
Okay,
Dr.
you're
Feinman.
welcome. Okay.